In this tutorial, you're going to learn about Pedadida and a little overview of GitHub as well. So at the very top of everything, we have GitHub. GitHub is a free place to store programming code, and on there we have Pedadida. However, Pedadida is not just one framework. Pedadida is made up of hundreds of frameworks. So you're going to understand what all those frameworks are, how you can contribute code to them, and best utilize Pedadida for your own system. So GitHub has something like jQuery. And inside the jQuery, it's connected to GitHub, and everybody can contribute code here. There can be hundreds of people all putting their code up inside of there and making jQuery better. There's also in GitHub the WordPress code. And same thing, thousands of people are all contributing code and making WordPress better. So this goes on, and then some of our systems, they aren't in GitHub. So we're using ThingOffice, for example, as one of our backends for the lab for Pedadida. However, it's not on GitHub, so that creates a problem. There's no connection here. So what I want to do on the move GitHub or the hard magic GitHub connection, we have hard magic here, and we make a branch specifically for ThingOffice that takes the SVN. We get an SVN of ThingOffice because they don't use GitHub, they don't use Git, they use SVN. And then we make that connection straight over to hard magic. Now, on the hard magic branch, we have an SVN going to ThingOffice, connecting it to GitHub. So my main purpose is I need everything to be on GitHub. Once everything's on GitHub, we then have Pedadida down here. And there's literally probably 20 programs that make up Pedadida, and we're always growing. And the purpose of it, like many people, WordPress isn't enough. WordPress is a good framework, but it was really designed for blogging. It wasn't designed for content management. So Pedadida is what I like to call an SCMS, a super content management system. WordPress is a CMS. ThingOffice is even a CMS, and then another one that we have that also needs to have an SVN going to it is the library, and our library runs on resource space. So my whole purpose of Pedadida is to have all of these open source program languages and making sure everything that we have is open source. We never choose anything that's proprietary. We always choose open source coding so that we can always give it back to an open source community. And then all of this is funneled down and creates Pedadida. And Pedadida, we need a framework as well for it. So we're going to have a framework that sits on top of all of these, and that framework will have the CSS coding, all your style sheets, all your theming, and instead of my team putting together stuff specifically for our social network, because our social network is the Move. And this is a for-profit. But instead of spending my money making the for-profit have a lot of money going into it and developing custom themes and beautiful jQuery slides and slippery coding, I'd rather take all that money and put back up into here. That way other people can benefit from the Pedadida system. And that means that we not only spend our money putting it into Pedadida, but we'll even spend our money and we'll put it up into ThingOffice. We'll put our money up into resource space. As long as I can find a way to make the Move better, I'm very happy to spend money on all of these other open source program languages. And that really opens up what we can do with the Move and how we can impact the entire world with our framework. Our framework as well, we haven't picked this yet, but I'm pretty sure we're going with the Warp framework. And I just want to make sure everything is under the GPL license or a CC 3.0 license, something that means that we can redistribute it back to the GitHub community. It'll be 100% free. And okay, so now understanding all of that, let's look at it on a different scale. So now we have Pedadida, and I want all my programmers working on Pedadida, which is way over there, which is that big system. And then instead of working on the move, we will be working on the move dev, which is a development system. And then this development system finally turns into the move. So in between here, there's a layer inside of here that disconnects the move dev. So anybody that ever works on Pedadida, you can go straight to GitHub and you can start working on Pedadida. If you want to work on the move, we have the move playground that anybody is allowed to work on. And you can actually see the custom coding that we've developed. And you can play on it here. After you've played on it here and you've developed a lot of stuff, a lot of people can do this. After you've developed on that, our own developers will pull that in to the move dev, and if we like it, so you work on Pedadida, it goes over into the move playground. If our developers like it, we pull it into the move development system. We see how it works with our actual system. Then if everybody likes it, we pull it in to the actual the move website. And all of this happens very, very quickly. You can work on here, let's say you work on the very core of the Think Office code, and you do this at 8 a.m. And maybe you're developing a style sheet and you're making, you're making a logo enhancement over there. So at 8 a.m. you do that, and then we pull code at 8:35 into Pedadida. We pull it down into here. And then over in the move playground, people are going to be playing over here. By 8:35, they already see that over here. So then at 8:40, someone else changes something here. By 8:45, you already have it in the development, and by 8:50, it's on the move. So within 1 hour, we have a 1 hour coding cloud. And that's how fast our development is with this process. Okay, so now let's talk about how you might go into the classroom, and when you're in the classroom, you decide you want to change the background color of it, and even choose a new icon for it. So you're in the Move classroom, and when you're in the Move classroom, you get an idea. You get an idea. So with your idea, you decide that you're going to start working on the Move. And instead of going over here to the Move playground and developing your idea, we would prefer you know how to go right up to the very source of this. Because the very source of this is Moodle. That's the source for the classroom. So we call it class, the developers call it Moodle. We call this OpenVase, the developers call it resource space. We call this one lab, developers call it Think Office. WordPress, we call this the Move, and developers call it WordPress. jQuery is just all the slippery code that develops on WordPress, and then the framework is called Warp, and all the little tiles that you see that make up our site, that's what Warp is. So you get your idea, and you get your idea down here when you're in the classroom for the Move. But instead of going over to the playground and working on it, we want you to go all the way up to Moodle and work on it there. Now you'll realize inside of Moodle, we don't actually control this workspace here. All that we control with Pedadida is the framework. And the cool thing about the framework, all the fun stuff is in the framework. So you can go inside Pedadida and start editing that framework. And how I want the entire site set up is we have the framework there. That's getting a little bit messy, so I'm going to rewrite it for you. So we have Moodle, WordPress, resource space, and what else do we have? ThingOffice. Okay, and let's focus on those. So with all of those, what I'd like to do is have all of them in their own custom folders. So when you look at Pedadida, this isn't exactly, well, I'll put exactly where they are. This is in the class folder. WordPress is in no folder at all. It just is right there. Resource space is in a library folder. ThingOffice is in the lab folder. So if you go inside of these folders inside of Pedadida, you'll see each of those areas, and that's how you can work on that. Now the framework, right now this is a problem because each one of these has its own framework. For example, the lab has /CSS. The library has /CSS, and so on. Now, I want to redevelop that so that we no longer have CSS here. We no longer have CSS here. We'll still have those folders, but they'll be redirecting down here to this framework. That way, all of them, their CSS files use the framework that we have called Warp. Once we have it set up like this, then our developers can go into our framework. So we'll have a /frame folder, and in that /frame folder, that's the only one that you need to change, and it will take the CSS back up to everywhere. And we don't have this developed yet, but that's what I would like to do. And so for example, inside the frame folder, what we could have, let's look at the frame folder. We can have files, and we can have a whole directory called /logos. Have a directory called styles, images, and so forth. And then inside of styles, you'll have CSS. Inside of logos, you can have class, or you can have library. And this gives one place. That way, all of your designers only have to go here. Designers don't need to know about every single area. Designers don't know what Moodle is, they don't know what WordPress is, resource space, ThingOffice. So if we have this framework folder here, the frame folder, then that makes it very easy. Designers do know what logos are, they do know what style sheets are, they know what images are, and that makes one place. Then when you change, they'll go into the logos folder, and it's very easy for them to see logos / class_logo dot jpg. It's very easy for them to see this class_logo dot jpeg and know that, that's the one I need to change to get my new logo for the classroom. And if we make it this easy, and if we set up redirects inside of the class for them, then that makes it very easy for our designers to understand all of this. And once we get all that done, we actually put that in the Pedadida framework, and then anybody that ever downloads Pedadida, they'll start out with one sample in the frame directory, and in that frame directory, we'll have a common theme. We'll have one common theme included. Okay, after we have that one common theme included, it's as simple as downloading Pedadida, putting it on your own server, going into the frame folder, and once you're in the frame folder, you simply change all those files, change the style sheets, and you'll have a brand new website.